friends, welcome back to the Stitchberry podcast. This is episode 2. I am so excited because today I have 3 finished objects and I'm adding a brand new segment, so I'm so excited about this episode. Something that I definitely failed to mention in the first episode, but it's okay, that was only the first episode, is I do have pretty much everything that I mentioned linked below in the show notes. You can find the show notes on my blog, and I have more notes in there and links to things. I try to remember to link everything that I talk about, and so you can find all of that there. And speaking of the blog, I have a ton of free crochet patterns and other resources and blog posts on there, all relating to knitting and crocheting and all the things I'm passionate about. So you can find all of that down below. I do have a specific link to my blog, but also show notes are also my blog, so you can easily find everything through there. I just wanted to let you know all about that because I have spent several years building up a library of patterns for you. So with that being said, let's get into today's episode. The first thing is a finished object I am so excited about. I finished these just a few days after the last podcast episode, or the last time I filmed it. So that is my Evermore socks. These use Sorella's yarn. It's a hand-dyed yarn, fingering weight. I think it's on their sock weight, so it's a nylon wool blend, I think. And this colorway is, there we go, is Evermore. It's so pretty, so pretty. I love all the colors. And then this is Gold Rush. So these came together as a sock set, and I did a little bit of the contrast at the top. I believe I have enough to make some shorty socks. I've never made shorty socks before, and I'm really trying to make these colors last because I love them so much. I want like a gazillion socks with this yarn. So my goal is to, after I finish some other socks and some projects, I do want to start some shorty socks, and I'm really excited to see the difference because obviously, because they're only from here to the foot, really, they shouldn't take that long, which I'm really excited because that sounds great, like having socks done in like a week. So this is my first project. This is also just like a vanilla sock pattern. I didn't really follow any pattern. I kind of just, I know my preferences, so I like a 2x2 ribbing at the top. The only thing I wish I'd done more ribbing. I don't know why I didn't. I think it's just because by the time I get to about here, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to not do ribbing anymore, and I'm ready to just work stockinette all the way around. I've learned my lesson because I really wish I did more, so now I know, okay, just crank it out as fast as you can and go as long as you know you want it. And then I do an afterthought heel, and I do work cuff down. I've only done one pair from the toe up, and I really just like the method of working top down. I think it's a lot easier, and yeah, I just like it a lot more than the other way. So this is my first finished object. My next finished object, it's half finished, half not. You'll see in a minute. It's more finished than not, so I am including it in this section just because it's fun to have things in the finished objects segment. So this is it. This does not look like much. It is a jar cozy, and I'm calling this my iced coffee cozy. So here is what it looks like on the jar. No, I did not weave in ends yet. I love drinking my iced coffee in these mason jars, and I thought it'd be a really fun pattern for summer because I mean, I'm drinking iced coffee like every single day, and It's a great summer pattern because it's quick, it uses cotton yarn, and it can even work as a stash busting project too. So this is what it looks like. I think it's focusing. This is what it looks like on the jar, and then this is what it looks like off the jar. So and as you can see, I alternated which one was the main color and which one was the contrasting color in these two. So these two are done, and I am working on a third one right now. I just started it, so it does not look like much, and there's so much going on here. So yeah, I'm just like on the third round on the side. So I don't think I have a whole one. I used We Crochet or Knit Picks Dishy. This is a 100% cotton. This is the linen colorway. This is the swan colorway. This is one of my favorite 100% quote-unquote like kitchen cottons. I love using it for washcloths and things like cozies, kind of those things that you want it to be a little bit more durable. I love using Dishy for that. So this is a pattern that I am designing, and it is going to be free on my blog. I don't know when, and I don't know when this podcast episode is coming out, so probably within the week of this podcast episode coming out is when this pattern will come out, and there will be a video tutorial on how to make this cozy, which I'm really excited about. I'm really trying to do more tutorials, whether that's stitch tutorials or actual project tutorials on YouTube. So this will be coming very, very soon. If you want to be the first to know when this pattern comes out, you can either follow me on Instagram, or the absolute best way is to sign up for my email list. They are the very first people to know when new patterns or new videos like the podcast, all of that, when those come out. So that will be linked below for you to sign up. My next finished object isn't even knitting or crocheting, but I think this is like my favorite thing from this episode that I've made. So I made a couple of days ago this project bag. So pretty. And it has the ties. It is a drawstring bag. Right now, this is my favorite type of project bag, is the drawstring. I think it's just super easy, and I like how, because there's no zippers, nothing gets caught, and it just works really, really well. So the thing with project bags is I have been wanting to make some of my own project bags for a really, really long time. I really only have like one actual project bag that is about this size, and so it works really well for socks. And for all of my other projects, I use baskets that I've made, which those also work really well. But I don't know why, I've just wanted to make project bags for a really long time. And it took me a long time to actually get into using project bags. I don't even know what I did a couple years ago, because now my project has to be in something. It has to have a designated spot, a designated place for it to be when I'm not working on it. And I think I started using project bags 1 or 2 years ago. It wasn't that long ago, and I have no idea what I did before that. So anyways, I've really, really wanted to make project bags for a really long time, and I was looking at fabric on Etsy a couple days ago, and I was, you know, kind of just looking and thinking like, oh yeah, like I really want to get that yarn to make project bags. That'd be so cute. And then I suddenly remembered that already hidden away in a drawer, I completely forgot last summer when I went on a trip. We were out shopping and walking around to all these little shops, and there was a fabric store, and so I got 3 fat quarters of cotton yarn. I don't even remember what I was going to make with it. Maybe project bags, I don't know. So I totally forgot that I had those. So I was just rummaging through trying to find them. I did. I had this blue floral, and I actually had 2 of these, and then I had another one that was like a greenish pink floral one. So my plan is to make probably 2 more with those. I did use a bag pattern for this that I bought on Etsy, and I will have the pattern linked below. I believe this one was called the Leah Bag. It came with 2 sizes, which was really, really great. On the day when I was looking at Etsy, then something remembered, this was last Sunday, I was all of a sudden like, I am making a bag. So, and I had saved this pattern because I had been searching, and I knew I wanted to make bags using this pattern, because the last time I tried to make a bag, a project bag, without a pattern, it did not go well at all. So I knew I wanted to use a pattern, and she had 2 sizes. This is the small one. When it's not like pulled cinched tight, it does look like it's a pretty good size, but then it does get, I feel like, quite a bit smaller once you cinch that tight, so it can't hold a whole lot. This will mostly probably be a sock project bag. And so I purchased the pattern on Sunday. This story is like so broken up. I purchased the pattern on Sunday, printed it all out, printed the pattern pieces out, which was not many at all, and I made it then. It took a couple hours because I had to purchase the pattern, print it out, cut out the pieces, and then cut out all the fabric. So the next time I make one, it is going to go by significantly faster because I already have those pieces, plus I know what I'm doing. This was a super easy project. I would say I'm an advanced beginner sewer, so it was super easy, and I would really recommend it if you are wanting to make your own project bags. Now we are moving on to works in progress. I'm only going to show this briefly because while I feel like I've made a decent amount of progress on it, it doesn't really look like I made a lot, just because of the nature of the project. So this is the Mulberry Wrap that I showed last time. I'm using Hobby's alpaca silk in, I've number color 3. Don't know what the actual color name is. So this is where I was last time, and this is how much progress I made, which I've been working on a lot of other projects too, and so I'm really happy with this progress. Again, it doesn't look like that much because obviously it is growing really fast, but it is kind of boring because it's just the same repeats. So I did want to show this because I have made a lot of progress on it, and because I have made a lot of progress on it. Also, another project that I'm working on I can't show, so a lot of my crochet time has gone to that project, which I unfortunately can't show because I have made a lot of progress on it, but it's okay. You'll find out in a few months. So moving on to my next project, I feel like finished projects is so exciting because I got 3 done, whereas I feel like all my whips, so we move forward with all of the finished projects, like we're chugging along, but then I feel like we're taking like 10 steps back with the whips, and I'll explain why because of my next 2 whips. So if you remember from last time, I am knitting the Ella tank top by Madison Marie. I'm using a smaller needle and smaller yarn, so I went up 2 sizes, and it does look quite small, but I was thinking, oh, like I can just stretch it out a little bit. But I'm currently debating on just frogging the whole thing because I had this wasn't a full skein of yarn, and I've already done most of the front, not including where you separate for the top. So it's not using up as much yarn as I thought it would. And I still have 2 more full ones, plus I have some scraps that I have some balls, which I know I have more of these in another basket. So now I know I have plenty of yarn, and the more I've gone, the more I'm like, that looks really, really small. I know it is rolled in, just because it's stockinette, so it will stretch, but I knitted the large. I'm debating taking it all out and doing the extra large. Because it is just stockinette, I feel like I'm okay with that because it's not like a super focused pattern, and I haven't had much time to work on it anyway, so now I'm so far removed from the pattern. And I think because one of the reasons why I haven't worked on it, on top of part of it was I haven't had time, but also I just wasn't motivated. I was just kind of thinking, do I want to take it out and then start over? So I might do that. That's kind of what I'm thinking about doing at this point. So, and I think the last time I showed was down here, and I made so much progress, and then I realized I actually have a lot of yarn, and I do want to use up as much of this yarn as I can because I don't want any leftovers. So I'm thinking, I think I might rip this out and start over, and I think I will thank myself when I do. It's hard, especially because I've made so much progress on it. So that will probably be a lot smaller the next time you see it, because I will probably have either just ripped it out and not had time to start it yet, or I just started it over. So that is my next project, and I am using Cascade Yarns Ultra Pima. I really, really love this yarn. It's a great yarn. It has a great drape, and it feels so good. Like, honestly, a lot of the progress that I did make on this was solely because I love knitting with this yarn. It just glides off the needle so easily, and it is so much fun to knit with. Okay, my next whip is a new one, which I think I will also be frogging and starting over, which is so sad because of how far I am. It's kind of all tangled up because there's 2 yarns, but I am making another pair of socks. I started these shortly after I finished my Evermore socks. If you remember from the last episode, I was talking about future plans and sock plans, and these were next up to make. And as you can see, I did go the full length of the cuff because I learned from my Evermore socks. And again, this is just a simple vanilla sock, and I would go 4 rounds of the white and then 1 round of I call it raspberry, and continue repeating that. I have some waist yarn in, so I'm already at the foot. So the reason why I will be frogging this is because these are not for me. These are for a friend, and they're kind of big on me, and if they're big on me, they're definitely going to be big on my friend because she has slightly smaller feet than me. I feel like the leg would have been totally fine, but once I started the foot and then I tried it on, I was like, oh, that's really big. There's like a lot of room in it, and especially because I feel like these socks, they do tend to stretch out a little bit more, and yeah, it would just stretch out a lot. And then I'm like, well, I want her to actually enjoy wearing them, because the couple pairs of socks that I have that are a little bit too big, like I can still wear them, but they're a little bit too big. I don't enjoy wearing them as much as some other socks that I've made that fit me better. So I am going to rip this out and start over. The good news is that this is DK weight yarn. I'm using, for the white, I'm using We Crochet High Desert, which I guess is technically a sport weight, it says. But I don't know, I feel like it could pass as a DK weight, especially because this color, this is Lion Brand, this is a DK weight. And like knitting them together, you would never know the difference. So it does go by a little bit faster because it is a DK weight yarn, and because I am making it smaller and not bigger, I will have fewer stitches per round. So, and I would like to finish these pretty soon. So these will be my main focus for the next few weeks because I really want to finish them as soon as I can. So that's probably why there won't be much progress on some of these other whips, just because I want to finish these as soon as I can, and then I can move on to others. That is all of my works in progress. So, and again, I am also working on a secret project, and I need to finish that, and I need to finish these socks as soon as possible. So something that I started to do in May is to kind of set monthly goals slash plans for myself of what I want to finish for the month. And I wanted to finish one sock and one panel of the tank top. Obviously that's not going to happen. If I really focused on these socks, I know I could get one done or close to one sock done, but I do need to work on that other secret project. So I would like to just finish the leg of one sock, and then I want to, I know I'm not going to get the other one finished in May, but shortly after May I would like to finish that. So, but by the next podcast episode, I want to completely finish that secret project. Sorry, I know I'm talking a lot about something that I can't even share with you guys. Sorry, that's just the job. But I would like to finish that project, have at least one sock done, and rip out this, and I don't know if I'll start it. I would like to finish these socks before I start over on this tank top. And as far as the Mulberry Wrap, the socks and the other project are more of a priority for me, and because I wasn't, and also the cozies, because I was working on that too since the last podcast episode, and because I wasn't even planning on releasing that pattern until later in June, probably July, I'm not in a big rush to work on it. I have other deadlines that are a lot sooner that I would like to finish sooner. So that is kind of where I'm at right now with my projects, and I wanted to share with you one thing that I got in the mail since the last podcast episode, which I am in love with. This is yarn by Sorella Yarn. Her labels are literally the cutest thing ever, and look at that color. That is so pretty. So this is, oh yeah, Mrs. Patmore's Kitchen, and I got this in her Netflix collection, which was based on movies and TV shows and things like that. And this colorway is from Downton Abbey. Mrs. Patmore is the cook, and Downton Abbey is literally in my top 3 TV shows. And so when I saw that she was bringing this yarn back from her original Downton Abbey collection, I knew I had to get it. I've learned with hand-dyed yarn, and I think I might have talked about this in the last podcast episode, I've learned it's a very like emotional, I don't know if that's the right word, thing for me, where if you had named this anything else, I wouldn't get it. But because it's Mrs. Patmore's Kitchen, I love it because it reminds me now of Downton Abbey. And so yes, this is on their nylon sock base, so I will be making socks out of this. I don't know I can't decide if I want these to be plain or if I want to do some sort of pattern with them. Yeah, I don't know, because obviously it is variegated and I like to do pattern socks with more tonal socks and things like that. So I haven't exactly decided, and I probably won't get around to using this for quite a while, just because I have the socks I'm working on now. There's another pair of socks that I haven't even talked about at all that I want to start soon, and the Evermore shorty socks. So I did just want to show this because it came in the mail and I love it so much. And I will have her shop linked below. She used to do like a new collection every month, but because of how they've grown and things like that, which I think is amazing for her, I don't think that they do a brand new collection every month, but it is, I think, at least every other month. Plus they have seasonal tonals that are in their shop every season too, which is great. Okay, I also wanted to talk about, so I know I mentioned I have a blog, and I have 2 new blog posts up. The first, and they're both relating to summer, so they go really well together. The first one is tips and ideas for knitting or crocheting in the summertime. These aren't your typical, you know, crochet with or knit with cotton yarn or lightweight yarn or do super small projects. They aren't directly those kinds of tips. They a little bit, but not really. I feel like they're a little bit of some different ideas that I don't see like recommended as much as kind of those traditional like crochet with cotton yarn for summer, which, I mean, that's a great tip. I love doing that. But I really wanted this blog post to provide new ideas and things that you can do in the summertime for knitting and crocheting. So I will have that linked in the show notes. And the second blog post is my top 5 favorite yarns for summer. And this, I specifically went through, I chose my favorite yarns, and I realized kind of after I chose those that I like using them all for different projects. So for example, I talked about the Dishy yarn earlier and how I love using it for things like washcloths and cozies and things like that, things that are going to get wet a lot, whereas one of the other yarns, it's my favorite pillow yarn. Another one is my favorite bag yarn. So there's not only recommendations for yarns, but there's also ideas for each of those yarns, which I think is really great. So both of those blog posts will be linked down below. Okay, and I mentioned at the beginning that I would have a brand new segment in the podcast, which I'm so excited about. So beyond making, one of my other hobbies, it's a very big hobby that I love, is reading. So I thought I'd share the books that I finished in the past couple weeks. There's only 2, and so hopefully you can get some book ideas. I love, besides knitting and crocheting, videos and content on YouTube. Like BookTube is my other favorite thing to watch. I get so many ideas from literally people recommending books that they've read, or I know, oh, stay away from that book, I probably won't like that book. So the first book that I finished, and I have been highly anticipating reading this literally all year. I think I added this to my TBR list in probably January, and I didn't get around to reading it until a couple weeks ago when I finished it, and that is The Silent Patient. So this book was so good. Definitely gave it a 5 stars. I heard so many good things about this book, and so the expectations were very high, and they were definitely met. This is about a girl named Alicia who murdered her husband, and since his murder she has not talked, and so then there's, I think it's like a psychotherapist who is trying to work with her and to really figure out, okay, why did she actually kill her husband. It was so good. I read this in I think about 5 days, which is really, really fast for me for a book. Like, you know, I'm invested in a book when I read it in 5 days. Especially because like I was just so engaged the whole time, and I don't know if it's because I knew that there was a plot twist coming at the end, but I was just blazing through this book, and I really, really enjoyed reading all of it. And the plot twist at the end is so good, so good. I was not expecting that at all. So I would definitely recommend this. This is a 5-star book for me, and it's also not super long too, which is really, really nice. Okay, and the other book that I finished, which I listened as an audiobook. So I like to have one physical book going and then one audiobook, just because obviously they're 2 different mediums, and so I can consume them at different times. And so the audiobook that I finished is House of Holo, and I gave this, I think, a 3 stars because it was a good idea and a good storyline, and it was well written. I just don't think it was for me. So it's about 3 sisters, and when they were all younger, they disappeared for a month, and then they were found again, and they don't remember what happened to them. And then years later, when the oldest sister goes missing again, and the youngest sister, Iris, is determined to find her sister and figure out what actually happened to them, because they don't remember what happened, and they think, oh, maybe she went back to where they went when they were girls. So it's kind of that story of what happened and things like that. It sounds really good, and again, I think for a lot of people, like, it's a great book and they really enjoyed it. I just don't think it was for me. If that sounds good to you, then you should definitely read it. And if you really, really like kind of that fantasy added into the real world type thing, then I think you would really enjoy it. Those are the 2 books that I finished right now, and hopefully you got a couple ideas from them of what to read or what not to read. And I think that is the end of today's episode. Thank you so, so much for watching. Again, all of the links are down below, and if you would like more behind the scenes, then follow me on Instagram. And I hope you all have a lovely, cozy day, and I'll see you next time.